We are here with Robert J. Bob Sherwood, a prolific author who has been in a lot of arenas in life, in Silicon Valley and podcasting. And he's got two master's degrees. There's so many things about Bob we could talk about, but I want to talk about specifically today his latest book called Beyond All Reach. You folks, you want to hear about this. This is the fifth installment in a series of truly a technology hero, a man called Dave Dawson. David Dawson. To me, Dave Dawson is a lot like Jack Ryan in the Tom Clancy books, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. So, Bob, we're just going to talk a little bit about your book. This is called Beyond All Reach. It's a cyber. I don't know if we call it cyber terrorism or cyber technology or the capabilities of what's out there with people totally creating a World War III, weapons of mass destruction only via technology and not nuclear missiles. So tell me about in your mind, what's the history of this book? When did it pop into you? This book could be something you'd like to write about and share this story.
I've been working on this book for off and on for probably 4 years.
And so it came to you, you have done another one of your talents is you've been an expert witness in national court cases on technology. You're a technology expert in many areas. Obviously, this is a technology related book. So, have you come across technology courtroom scenarios where you're an expert witness that had to do with potential cyber terrorism or cyber technology?
I don't think so. I mean, I've had cases that have been on the edge of technology, but more or less, my cases are about disputes and how technology is being used or paid for. Or in many cases, it's because the buyer and the seller just didn't agree on a scope that was detailed enough, so it resulted in a dispute over money and what was actually produced.
Yeah, and in this case, in this book, folks, you will you will want to get it. In fact, the easiest way to get it right here on the screen is a QR code. You just take your phone, photo of that QR code. It'll take you right to the Amazon link where you can get Beyond All Reach either in Kindle or paperback. So right now, even as we're doing this interview, go to that QR code. So, Bob, the Dave Dawson character has always intrigued me. You've written 14 books, of which five of them are novels, most of the time based on technology, and they're all thrillers, adventure. They've got romance. This one even has a couple moments where readers that like a little extra hotness, a little sexiness will enjoy some of this book and they'll want to tune into that. So tell us about Dave Dawson. In my mind, Tom Clancy, who made Jack Ryan famous with the main character being the hero in this case. Dave Dawson, how would you describe David Dawson?
David Dawson is a successful Silicon Valley technology person. He's been involved in several startups, all high technology. He made a lot of money when some of these companies went public, and he decided to become a consultant or a project analyzer. So he goes around the world, finds projects. He has a team of people, and they solve problems. And in the current book, he starts out to solve the problem of how to vote around the world. So he wants to solve the issue of voting, and he wants to do it on a worldwide scale. So he and his lover friend Carly, and Carly is a very interesting woman. She has made $1 billion selling cream to women. Did an IPO. She rides motorcycles. She dresses in black leather. She flies an airplane. She can jog 10 miles at a crack. She can swim 5 miles. She does everything. And David and her fall in love. And together they raise $3 billion. They hire 20 of the smartest people in the world. And they take them all to an island off of the coast of Australia and work on this massive computer project to help people around the world in every country vote democratically, called electronic voting.
So this is very interesting because they go to this island, remote island, where no one knows about it. Access is not easy, and you've got the billionaires. It seems like in the book you have a name for these uh, billionaire group. You call them crazy. Tell us a name that you have for the billionaires.
Well, I call them the crazy billionaires, the CBs.
The CBs, yeah, and
And
then
we hire a lot of geniuses, and we call them CGs. We call them crazy geniuses. And the situation is these geniuses are hired. They have to leave their home, leave all their contacts with the world outside, and if they last a year on the island and don't break any of the rules and help solve the problems that this group is going to solve, they get a $10 million cash award at the end. That's what motivates them to go to the island.
so you have these crazy geniuses, most of them young programmers, coders, people that they're thinking, what else I got to lose? For $10 million, I'm going to disappear basically for a year to help create this tool that Dave Dawson and Carly have in their mind.
Well, the tool, just so we'll be clear about this, the tool starts out to set up so that any country can vote electronically, including the United States. But along the way,
It shifts.
and I don't want to reveal everything because I don't want to stop people from buying the book. Along the way, we find out the tool has many other uses. And the evil people, of course, they understand what the evil uses are, and they use it for evil. So along the way, there's a slight change. There's a couple of hiccups. There's some pivots, and at the end, Dawson actually uses the part of the technology, but not all of it, to basically solve problems that exist between countries. It's very similar to the 50s. We had everybody had missiles. So the concept in the 50s was mutual assured destruction. You launch a missile at me, I'll launch a missile at you.
Yes.
Well, in today's world, people don't really worry about missiles so much anymore. Maybe they should, but they don't. But every time there's a cyber attack, we blame it on China. China blames it on us. We blame it on Russia. Russia blames it on China. So everybody blames cyber attacks on everybody else. So there really is a need for a mutual assured destruction in the electronic world. And that's what essentially the geniuses are working on.
Yeah, and these, having read the book, folks, without revealing too much, but you can see the scenes. I really think this book should be a movie. So if there's any producers, directors, screenwriters watching this, you should take a look. You should buy this book and take a look because there are descriptive. Bob, you do a great job of describing things that you could see a scene in a movie take place with a little old grandma. As well as world leaders getting together. There's so many things that this would be an incredible thriller, worldwide, global action movie where Dave Dawson, in effect, becomes the hero. But let's talk about another character because you said the bad guys. There's a character, Tony Rossini. Tony Rossini. He started out as one of the billionaire investors, but his heart or whatever you want to call it maybe wasn't in the right place once he learned the power of the tool. Can you tell us a little bit about
Tony Rossini? Has been an evil person all his life. He may have, and I won't let it out here, but he may have killed his parents when he was like 7 years old. So, but the real point is he's made a lot of money with his uncle, who happens to be the mayor of Estonia. Now, Estonia is one of the few countries in the world that already have electronic voting. And David Dawson, in the book, helped Estonia achieve that milestone. Now, there's two parts of the book that are kind of interesting. At the end of the book, the Chinese, the Russian, the Japanese, the Taiwanese, Australians, and the British all get together and have this massive meeting to kind of understand the weaknesses of each person's country. The fact that, most Chinese don't want to move to America, and most Americans don't want to move to China. And most people in both countries want to basically eat good food and watch soccer or whatever sport they're going to watch, right? So they come up with this method together of mutually assured destruction in electronic world right now. The other thing that's kind of interesting in the book is we explore the use of quantum computing. Now, what happens in the book can only occur if we can measure every log entry that's made on the internet around the world. To do that, we need a quantum computer.
Around the world.
Yeah,
Every entry.
so I actually interviewed a person who's very familiar with quantum computer. He works on it. He has a doctorate degree, and he works on those kind of issues. And so a lot of the principles in the book about the application come from him. In other words, real. What I'm describing may sound to some people as hypothetical, but it's actually real. And we build this quantum computer on the island, and that allows us to basically track every log entry on the internet around the world.
Yeah. Folks, we're talking about the book Beyond All Reach. We're talking with Robert Sherwood, the author. This is the fifth in a series about an incredible guy called David Dawson, and how in all the books he solves a problem, opens up, helps people understand what's happening most of the time in technology, things that talk a lot about government. We have scenarios of there's a good guy, there's evil, there's a little bit of hot, sexy scenes in this book. There's adventure. I mean, everything you might want in a movie that you'd like to go see or a book you'd like to read.
Well, sure. I mean, this is the first novel that I've done where it's a romantic love story between David Dawson and David and Carly set against a platform of technology, a background of technology, right? Very successful. Latest technology is being used. Going back again, remember, they raised money from three billionaires. They raised $3 billion, they being David and Carly. And at the end, of course, they fall in love and go off in the sunset, live happily ever after. But they solve a problem that we see every day when each country blames the other country for something. And the final scenes actually occur in the Netherlands at the International Court of the Hague, where disputes between countries are resolved. So it's a very high level, very accurate. There's no actual litigation per se in the book this time, but it's a big love story with some background of technology. And I think people are going to love this lady, Carly. Carly can do everything. She flies a plane. The plane crashes. She's able to find a way to get off the island, right? She can do everything, but she's in love with Dawson. Dawson in the beginning is with another woman, and Carly puts up with this, but at the end, Carly kind of like, says, hey, Dave, you got to toe the line. They eventually, live together. But the initial purpose of the technology that these crazy geniuses develop pivots. So the initial purpose that the book is about changes to a more powerful utilization of the technology as the book progresses, and a more meaningful one.
Yeah. Certainly voting and how we vote here in America and probably worldwide has been a topic of a lot of discussion. Current President Trump wants to go to hand ballots and written ballots. And this starts out, as you said, this talks about electronic voting and how it could be secure. So, folks, if you're interested in that whole conversation, that's a reason to pick up the book because it talks about that. But then it flips to, let's say you have $10 million in your bank account.
Let's not talk about what it flips to, right?
Okay.
What
all right.
Is the secret of the book.
The secret of the book.
People want to read the book. They want to see how the flip occurs and how it ends up a more powerful technology than it started out to be.
Exactly. This QR code, folks, just put your cell phone to that and it'll take you right to the Amazon link. And there'll also be, you'll see on the bottom of your screen here, you'll see a link also that you can just go to that link and go to Amazon. Robert J. Sherwood, Beyond All Reach.
Now you can buy the book in paperback for your Kindle or your iPad, and also hardcover, right?
What audience, what would you say the kind of audience that would love this book?
People that like to read romantic stories, people that like to think about the future. And that's kind of a very good question, because what's my motivation in writing these kind of books? It's actually not to sell books, although I'd love to sell thousands of them. My motivation is to get people to think about technology and not be frightened by it, but understand that it can be used for evil. For evil, that's as I describe in the book how one evil person uses it. Can be used for evil, but also for good. So my motivation is to get people to think about technology, to be provocative when they think about it, but not be frightened about it, but recognize that it's coming. People talk about quantum computing. It's coming. It's, the open AI and chat, all those things are here. The future is coming usually faster than people can anticipate it.
Yeah, and because you as you said, you personally have really engaged in the study of this quantum computing. I think folks who want to learn about that could be powerful. Just to harken back to Dave Dawson, just in 30 seconds, like you had a book that was revolving around the World War II, Harry Truman dropping the bomb, and a thriller regarding, I think was it called The Unforgivable Act?
Yeah, the Unforgivable Act was about a woman who was a baby, if you will, but could walk, and she was at the epicenter of the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. But she was saved, and the method by which she was saved is logical, and it's explained in the book. Anyway, so she lives. All her family, of course, dies. And she spends all of her life becoming a very wealthy woman with only one purpose in mind. She wants to basically get even with Harry Truman in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's what the book's about, how she goes about getting even. And it's very real because we subcontract so many things to countries overseas. We don't understand that sometimes when we subcontract products over there, they can stop shipping to us. And in the particular case of the Unforgivable Act, the way she starts her revenge is she's making products for the Department of Defense. And those products go into one of our fighter jets. And one day the Department of Defense says, hey, send us a few parts. And she says, no. Yeah. And that's the beginning.
That's another fascinating book. Another book, everybody knows Google and uses it every day for the most part. And also America's really into the transparency of government. And you wrote a book called The Brain Brokers that talks about the government's power over certain scenarios. Give us a little quick rundown of that book in your series of Dave Dawson books.
Well, sure. The Brain Brokers is interesting because it deals with the fact that every country wants to keep its own smart people. I mean, during the war, we were always concerned about who's going to get the smart people. Now, after the war, of course, we got 100 people from Germany that do our V2 rocket launches and things like that. But here's the point. The governments want to basically make sure that all of our smart people don't work in other countries. So that's what the book's about. And that's how the government goes about doing it. They do it somewhat overtly. They do it behind the scenes. Google tries to hire one of these geniuses, for example, and the government says, no, you can't hire that person because we're putting them into one of our rocket research areas. So it has a legal issue, but it also is a fact that countries want to protect their intellectual property, which is the people they train. So in that particular book, a government agency monitors all the students in the United States that score 1,600 or 2,400 on their SAT scores. And they make sure they get positioned in the right area. So it's kind of an interesting book. It's a conspiracy theory in a way, but it's probably logical. If I was president of the United States, what would I want to do? I'd want to make sure that all the smartest people that are born in America stay here.
Yeah. That's so true. And all these books, as we talked about, and I say with a twinkle in my eye that you talked about David Dawson and who he was as hired by companies as a consultant and had a Silicon Valley background. Maybe the author, but you were engaged in helping with startups in Silicon Valley in your younger days. And do you, in some ways, is Dave Dawson kind of a little bit of Robert Sherwood?
No. Dave Dawson is a hypothetical person. Everybody in my books are hypothetical. They're not based on any living person. I have to say that because that's the only way I can get a legal disclaimer, right?
Okay, we might cut that out then.
Well, that's the first, right? As you open the book, it'll say all these are based on fictional people. Any resemblance to an actual living person is totally coincidental. So no. David Dawson is a hypothetical person created by me to do meaningful things in the world.
Yeah. Well, one of the themes of this book, and it talks about a lot as we're winding down here, because it sometimes is out there in the news media, and sometimes the president talks about World War III, and the whole concept of this book. Any thoughts about World War III from the perspective of this book?
Well, sure. I mean, go back to the 50s. In the 50s, we had mutual assured destruction. That means everybody had missiles. You fire your missiles at us, we fire ours at you, and therefore we won't fire at anybody because we wipe out both countries. Mutual assured destruction was the 50s and 60s. Now, but today we don't have that. Probably most of these missiles won't even work anymore because they've been in silos for 50 or 60 years. So how do we have mutual assured destruction today in an electronic age? We need the equivalent of mutual assured destruction with missiles, with mutual assured destruction with electronic cyber warfare. That's what the book's about. It actually creates mutual assured destruction electronically, so it eliminates World War III in the year 2025 the same way we eliminated it in 1965 with the concept of mutual assured destruction.
And I love the cover of the book, but the title, Beyond All Reach. As you were writing the book, what was the concept about the title Beyond All Reach?
Well, the group of people that did this work are beyond all reach. If somebody could reach them, they'd probably go drop a bomb on them. So no, they're in an area that's beyond all reach. And actually in the book, I actually specify the GPS coordinates of the island. The island is a real island.
So I could fly there.
This particular island, no, because although in the book I build a landing strip on there, in reality, there's no landing strip on this island.
Yeah, based on actually reading the book and enjoying it, and Carly, I'd like to have Carly a flight with Carly to take me there. She could fly a small plane there, right?
She can fly anything. She can fly a jet. She owns a string of Harley motorcycle places. And in fact, in the book, she opens a Harley place in the Netherlands. It's part of the book. Yeah, she's an incredible person. She's very intimidating. David's intimidated by her. Most men are, right? But eventually he gets through that with her help.
Yeah.
And, she's an amazing woman because when she is trying to get him to love her, he's sleeping with another person. So she has this amazing viewpoint about life.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the book, it has so many folks. If you're into books that have character really in depth, getting into the characters and really goes into the character, besides Carly, an intelligent, beautiful, successful, sexy woman. David Dawson, the hero. You've got Tony Rossini, the bad guy. You've also got some action, some people that are protecting the island that are shades of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, they're tough guys that make sure nobody gets near the island or does anything on the island. There are researchers. There's a researcher person that does incredible research, very intelligent. There's so many characters. So if you're into books that really get into the characters, this is it. We've been talking with Bob Sherwood, Robert J. Sherwood on Amazon, Beyond All Reach. The QR code right here. That's your way to get to the book. Bob, in closing, anything you'd like to share that's a tickler, another reason why they should buy the book, or maybe what's next? Are there things in the horizon for Dave Dawson?
Well, if you buy the book and you read to the last chapter, you read to the last page, you will see what's next for David Dawson. He's never finished.
Dave Dawson.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
He's
folks.
An electronic Superman, always trying to solve the latest technology problem.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, listen, thanks, Bob, for being with us. And folks, get that book today, Beyond All Reach. You'll enjoy it. You'll be back, and you'll probably end up buying the first 4 installments of the Dave Dawson series. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, all.